Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Josh. I'm a 36-year-old male working in New York City, but living in New Jersey, and I wanted to tell you guys about this whole ketosis thing that I've been trying for 3 weeks. It all really started, I just heard about the word, and then I ended up reading this book called Ketosis and Intermittent Fasting. So first of all, for those who aren't familiar with what ketosis is, basically what it is it's when your body's metabolism switches over from using glucose over to a fat-based metabolism. So in other words, you're getting your energy from your own fat as opposed to like sugar and carbohydrates, which, by the way, 99% of Americans probably have their metabolism running on. I did this because I noticed, especially like Thanksgiving time, I just was bloated. I did not look this way. I just didn't like the way I looked in pictures, and I was getting this weird, crazy, stubborn belly fat that I just could not get rid of. So something had to change. I tried a lot of different diets, and this one, I gotta say, is my most favorite and the one that I've seen through from start to finish successfully. And I did establish some rules for me to not go insane, which I will cover. What happened is, before I started this, I was at 166, and at the end of it, which was yesterday, I was at 154. So I lost 11 pounds in 3 weeks, basically, by pretty much just cutting sugar and carbs. So how I did this, so these are the 6 rules that I established for myself, and I kind of edited them, after like the first week or so, just so I don't go insane. So these are the rules that I came up with for me to be successful all the way through. So rule number 1, this is very easy: no sugar, no carbs. And that includes sweet fruits, that includes, candy, donuts, things like that. You can't have your iced latte with caramel anymore or anything like that. And then also no carbs, no bread, no pasta, no blatant carbs, I guess you could say. No blatant sugars, no blatant carbs. Alright, so rule number 2 is called an intermittent fasting. And the rule that I used was the 16-8 rule. The intermittent fasting was not really part of the ketosis, but this book that I read before starting this, it was called Ketosis and Intermittent Fasting. It wasn't required, but it was more of a supplement to this whole thing. It was a bonus, I guess you could say, to kind of just speed things up. So what 16-8 means is basically for 16 hours, you don't eat, and then 8 hours is your feeding window. Now I know this sounds hard, but it's actually very easy, because those 16 hours, it also includes sleep. So basically, for me, I was having my meals at like 1 or 2, skipping breakfast, and then just making sure I had my dinner by like 8 or 9, and then just cutting off anything after that. So that was very easy. Rule number 3 is no overeating. Obviously this is a diet. They say you should have a lot of fats, but that doesn't mean eat an over excessive amount of like bacon, for example. So if you get a meal from like Chipotle or something, which I was doing, when I went to Chipotle, I just switched out the rice for salad, things like that. So just don't overeat. For my age and my height, they say that I should have around like 2,000 calories, so I was sticking to that. So again, just don't overeat. So rule number 4, and I made this exception rule because I am a morning person, not by choice, by the way. I do have a 10 to 6 job, so I need my coffee for me to just bear with people, I guess, in the morning. So I said to myself, black coffee is okay. I looked it up online. It's perfectly okay. And you could even have a little bit of splash of milk. It's not going to kick you out of ketosis. So rule number 5 is, again, this is an exception rule, and this is just so I could keep my sanity, is 1 cheat meal a week is okay. So notice that I said cheat meal and not cheat day, because if you have a whole day of just eating whatever you want, you're going to get kicked out of ketosis, because the whole point of ketosis is completely depleting the body of any sugar or carbs. So once you go over a certain amount, then your body's going to say, oh, hey, check out this sugar. Let's just use this sugar for energy instead, because they're going to use that first. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to have a whole day of doing that. That's why I say a cheat meal. And when I did have a cheat meal, I noticed my ketones level went down, but after a day or so, it went back up to optimal levels. And by the way, for those of you guys wondering how I was measuring this stuff, I was using this stuff called ketone test strips. This is a product that you buy from Amazon. It's $10. You pee on these little sticks, and there's this little color chart that tells you whether you're in ketosis or not. So for the first few days, I was in like small to moderate, but then after like a week or so, I was in like a dark purple. And it might be different for other people, because they say that for some people it's going to take a few days, for some people it'll take weeks, and for some people it might even take a few weeks. I guess it really depends on how long you've been on a carbohydrate-based diet. For me, it took about a few days, maybe a little less than a week. But that was for me. It might be different for you. And finally, rule number 6 is the intermittent fasting is optional on the weekends. And the reason I say that is because I enjoy my weekends a lot. I like having breakfast with my wife. They mean a lot to me. So yeah, I didn't want to completely just avoid that out of my life. So I said to myself, hey, you know what? This intermittent fasting, just cool it down on the weekends. You're going to be okay. You'll still be in ketosis. So again, those are the 6 rules that I adapted for my strategy. It's totally up to you how you want to do yours, but those are the ones that I kind of established over like the first week, just so I cannot go insane, and something that's maintainable for me. So this is the end of my 3rd week in ketosis, and actually, sadly, yesterday was my last day. And I wanted to tell you guys about some of the things that I noticed after the 3 weeks. So, the first thing I noticed right away is the first few days. The first 3 days were dreadful. I literally was withdrawing almost like sugar was a drug. It pretty much is. You're just gonna feel really kind of empty. I had this weird feeling in my mouth, like it just needed some kind of sugar in it or something like that. So yeah, but that's the worst part, actually. Just like any kind of drug or anything, once you get past that, then it's steady flowing from there, which is number 2. After you get past the whole withdrawal phase, then you are going to notice that your energy levels are kicking into high gear. I'm just kidding. What I mean by that is you're basically going to just see a constant flow of energy. I'm noticing that my energy levels are more of a continuous flow, a nice throughput. There's no ups and downs like it was before. Like before, I would just, kind of get a little irritable and just crash, and then be really high and then crash. So none of that anymore. It's just a nice steady stream of constant energy. And I like it. It's very nice. Number 3. So this is kind of a bad side. This is the disadvantage, is I can't sleep. But that was before. So when I first started this, like I said about the whole energy thing, yeah, you do have a lot of energy, but that means you have a lot of energy that you just, for some god-awful reason, you can't sleep also. So there was a lot of nights at first where I just couldn't sleep. I'm like, oh man, I just have all this energy. What do I do with it? So that was kind of weird. And that was just something that you have to just, I guess, get over, find a habit that works, whether that means burning a lot of energy during the evening or whatever. So that's just something your body just gonna have to get used to and adapt to. And then finally, the fourth benefit from this thing, and this is my favorite, was my ability to control my emotions better. So I don't know if it's the whole mental clarity thing or whatnot, but I just noticed that I can control myself better, especially around people. Before, I would kind of get a little irritable around people, a little mild cases of anxiety even sometimes, but during this, completely gone, just gone. And it's great. So, and it helps you deal with just situations better. So that, for me anyways, was one of the better benefits of this whole thing. So again, there you guys have it. That was the 6 rules that I used to get through this thing for 3 weeks, and then also the things that I noticed. So the question is, will I continue this? And the answer is yes and no. So I know that a lot of people say that this whole being ketogenic, is kind of like a lifestyle and whatnot. Like, oh, you can't just do it for a few weeks and just stop, blah, blah, blah. You have to be on this forever. That's not for me, only because I enjoy life's little pleasures, such as, a caramel frappuccino or a Dunkin' Donuts cream donut or something like that. Or waffles, or alcohol. I like those kind of things, so I don't want to completely strip away of those things. So what I am going to do, though, is when nobody's looking, when I do have control of where I can get my meal or something, I am going to always go for the healthier option. But there's going to be situations where friends will want to go out and have a beer or something like that, and I don't want to be that guy who orders like a kale salad or just like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't drink, blah blah blah. I don't want to be that guy. So maybe I'll just say to myself, in those kind of situations, just take it a little bit easy. And then also the weekend, take it a little easy also. But on the weekdays where I do have control of those kind of circumstances, then I will definitely keep up with the whole no sugar, no carb thing, definitely. Because, again, I like a lot of these benefits and I don't want to lose them. So yeah, there you guys have it. I hope you guys found this video useful. And again, I made this video to hopefully inspire anybody out there who is looking to lose some weight but also feel great. This was by far my best diet that I've ever done, so hopefully it'll help you guys. And feel free to reach out if you guys have any questions or anything. Again, my name is Josh, and thank you for listening. Goodbye.